let's start to roll that into the preview of Georgia Tech. So much less statistically advanced level. Here's what we know about the Jackets. They're 3-1 on the year. Their only loss so far was on the road in the Carrier Dome to Syracuse by 3 points. And their most impressive win is Florida State. But now that's not as meaningful. So, with that being the sort of high-level overview, I know all three of us have sort of had opportunities to sit down, watch, prepare our own study in the team, what they do, who are their key players, what are some things you noticed. So, Vince, why don't you get us started and just talk about what are some things that you picked up that you learned about the Jackets?
Well, I mean, being a wide receiver guy, like you mentioned, Keith, seeing the receivers run, what'd you say, butt-ass naked versus Florida State?
Naked open. Naked open.
That's a new one. I think Brewer would love that one. But exactly. But seeing that against Florida State, whenever I was watching that live, and then just hearing about, I listened to one of the Georgia Tech kind of podcasts and stuff before this, hearing them bitch about how poorly they defend the deep ball game, the play action pass. Those are things that I think we can more than exploit and take advantage of with the guy we have at quarterback, who's much improved from what we had last year. I mean, having guys as well that are just going to be able to find open spots and knowing our guy can deliver an accurate ball on time is going to be a game changer. So we're definitely going to have to take advantage of that. And then obviously, defensively, I mean, we just stop Haynes King. And I mean, I'm not going to say that's the whole game for you, but keep him within the pocket and make him throw the ball at least. I feel like that no sack record that they have going right now. I'm sorry, Robbie. I don't think that one's going to stand after this game, buddy. With Ashton Gelati coming, breathing down the neck. So that's kind of
Mel Logan.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, but I think I can see them like their offensive line is good, and I can see them thinking that maybe one of their guys can go one-on-one with Ashton at some point in the game. And I just feel like that's not going to fare well for them. I don't know, man. It's going to be a tough game, obviously. I think it's going to be a tougher game than some Louisville fans are expecting. At least tougher than what I was expecting going into this season, for sure, for me.
Well, I feel like expectations got changed drastically after the week 0 game against Florida State. I'm sort of swinging the other way where the more I watch Georgia Tech play, the more confident I am going into this game.
Yeah. Right.
Like I mentioned, their close loss was to Syracuse on the road by 3. In that loss, they had a blocked kick, a blocked punt, and also scored multiple touchdowns late in the fourth quarter. It was to make it seem a lot closer than it was. Like Syracuse let off the gas and they probably got chewed out for it after the game, but they're flawed. They have a lot to be desired, which, I mean, I'm pretty sure I snuck it into the 60-second segment talking about their suspect secondary after the Florida State game, and just watching them play their next few games, it hasn't.
You have to attack that. I mean, that's a spot for us that, Jeff is probably licking his chops.
Oh, yeah. Well, our quarterback is on pace to average, I believe, 40 attempts a game because he had over 20 in the Austin Peay game and had over 30 against Jacksonville State. So
he's on pace to average no interceptions as well.
Yeah, that's a great pace.
So
basically what you're saying is bet the over.
Not necessarily, because I think Georgia Tech's game plan they're going to pull a similar maneuver to our friends to the east utilize. I feel like they're just going to try and run the ball, hold it, squeeze it, 3 yards a carry, and just milk that clock and limit possessions. I feel like that's the only way that they can really hang in with us.
They're looking at freaking 2 weeks ago now where Jacksonville State's quarterback ran for 100+ on us. Like, that's what they're looking at, saying this is where we have to attack them, the run game, and then specifically the run game with Haynes. I bet they think they can take advantage of that, but like we talked about in that recap show, I don't think that we didn't have a spy going the entire game. I don't think that's something that they even put in there.
We didn't stack the box hardly at all against Jacksonville State. And I think Georgia Tech staff knows that, like, okay, they're not going to come out and do this against us. Like, but hey, it's what we have on tape. So I expect to see us a lot more 6-7 guys in the box, like a lot of cover zero, just dare you to try and take a shot and beat our elite corners in man coverage. But who knows what we'll see. Matt, I feel like I took a little bit of your thunder there talking about what we expect to see on their side of the ball. So I'll give up my portion and pass it over to you.
So, I mean, if you ask me, it's going to come down to which defense can get more stops or just relative to getting stops.
Really?
Just
That's
because
whose defense can get more stops? I'm going to be a smart ass on that one, Matt. Let me guess. Whoever scores more points is going to win too, huh?
I don't know. I thought it was who punted more.
No,
sorry,
this is Iowa.
Hey, we're swaggy
sorry,
Iowa.
Matt. I'm sorry, Matt.
Well, I say that meaning, that did kind of come out as a very, not ball knower take. But, I mean, these are two offenses who, I mean, through the first few weeks of the season have both looked really good. Yeah. I mean, we still haven't figured out what Louisville's exact offensive identity is because we haven't seen them play anyone with the pulse. But at this point, we feel like whatever their identity eventually is going to be, it's going to be executed at a high level. With Georgia Tech, we've already seen like a semblance of what they can do offensively, and they can do it relatively well. It's just a matter of what, like I said, Vince, which defense can get more stops. But
which makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess you can make the argument that we haven't seen Louisville's defense against someone with a pulse, so we don't know what their true capabilities are. But on the other side of that coin, we have seen what Georgia Tech's defense has done against teams with a pulse. And only one aspect has looked good, and that's the run defense in the front seven. They have very minimal pass rush, and against a team that has like an above average passing offense, they struggled mightily. So I think this is going to be a shootout, but I think it's one that ends in the favor of Louisville ultimately.
Even in games against non-elite teams. Now, you may try to argue that they were trying to keep the playbook shut. They struggled to put away a Georgia State squad whose coach literally, the team wasn't able to have spring ball because their head coach bailed to take an analyst job at a power conference school.
I forgot about that. Oh my God.
Now Georgia State has impressed me tremendously. I mean, they just beat my sweet baby CUSA boy Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt last week. So they could be better than I expected, but you can't struggle against Georgia State and just expect me to be scared. Like,
I want to see what Jeff does here, and if he's going to try and. Well, I think he's going to try and push the ball downfield to start the game, but at the same time, he's got to know in his back pocket he's got 3 bell cows at running back that he could go to at any point, 3 or 4 guys at running back he could go to at any point and just hammer the ball downfield if we needed to. I mean, that's just – I think he's really going to put Tyler to the test this game because it is a step up in competition. I think we're going to see a couple different plays in there that we haven't seen these first couple weeks. Maybe stuff that's already been installed during, week 2 or 3 of fall camp that, he knew he wasn't going to call the first 2 weeks. So, I mean, it's weird. It's weird.
Now, Vince, are you worried about this staff trying to get some advanced prep on Notre Dame at all?
No. I think this is a week-to-week. I've never been, more convinced of having a week-to-week staff. Now, and I don't even think they're doing this, Keith. Like, usually when you play a shittier team, like, say we play Jacksonville State this week opposed to Georgia Tech, you're 100% Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday sprinkling in a couple Notre Dame plays here and there. Like, maybe, their primary stuff, or you have, a 5-minute period of, hey guys, like you let everyone know, like, hey, this is not Jacksonville State. This is Notre Dame right here. Like, we're just gonna get, a couple series in to see how our defense looks against their offense, with our own eyes, since we have a week to prep for it.
No.
But not against, I don't think they would ever do that against Tech. Plus, I think this staff is as week to week as it gets.
Yeah, I mean, it is a conference game against a team that, if that was on the docket, I think after week 0, you immediately scrap that plan. And I feel like with the teams we've played weeks 1 and 2, with the week 0 and the week 3 bye, if you wanted to get advance install in for Notre Dame, Miami, Clemson, you would have done it during that period, during what I dubbed extended training camp.
Yeah, they could have did it, honestly. I bet they did work on some Notre Dame stuff last week. Like, I would not have been surprised if, the one offense did last week, just because, like you said, you have more time right now. I mean, you have a whole week still to prep for Georgia Tech. This is your whole normal week.
So to steer the ship back onto Georgia Tech, that was just one of the little creeping, lingering wonders in my mind. But to steer the ship back to Georgia Tech, we talked about Haynes King. In Matt's stats, you talked about Malik Rutherford. Who are some of the other players to know? Other than, I learned you don't pronounce his last name Effort. It's Effort, the viral Mike linebacker
really?
who is peak aesthetics. Yeah.
Oh, I
think he'll do a jersey swap with me after the game.
Only one way to find out, Vince.
I'll give him like my polo, and mine has to come with the cowboy collar though. Like I'm not. I guess I just needed shoulder pads.
You're that high profile of a player, Vince. Like, nah, I need more than just the jersey for this.
Yeah, I need your shoulder pads too.
Yeah. So you want to know more like guys on the offensive side, defensive side, or
just in general? Who are the stars that, if a fan who's not familiar with their game comes out and sees a kid make a play, who's it going to be?
You're not going to be sitting there saying, "Oh, that tall guy? Is that who you're talking about?"
Oh, God,
he can't hurt us anymore.
Nope. So so Jamal Haynes, he's their running back. He's coming off a 1,000-yard season last year. I don't want to say he's off to a slow start, but he's got 213 and 4 scores through 4 games, so his pace isn't what it was last season, but he's still a proven playmaker, a proven guy. And I mean, they run the ball a lot as is, and between him and Haynes King, that's the bulk of their rushing work. So they very much don't utilize the running back by committee approach. He's pretty much the bell cow, and some of the backups very sparingly kind of get run. And other than like him, Malik Rutherford, Eric Singleton, those are like the 3 primary offensive guys to kind of watch out for. I don't want to say that King has a like feed the studs mindset, but he recognizes that these are the guys who have the best probability of making a play for me. So I'm going to keep going to those guys.
I'm excited to see the offensive line against our defensive line. I mean, let's not shake that. That's going to be a big test for our D line for sure. And how well Ashton handles things like double teams. I know I said he could potentially be getting singled out in a pass pro situation, but he is 100% going to be receiving double teams the majority of the game. And how well are guys like Destel, Jared Dawson, and Thor Griffith, how well are they going to be doing? How well is Stanquan Clark going to do in an actual game situation against a real opponent when ACC bullets are flying at him? So, the play that we highlighted 2 weeks ago where DB's eyes were in the wrong spot, like stuff like that definitely worries me against a team who, in Matt's stats, we're talking about Haynes King throwing, 6 yards, going 6 yards on his passes. Like, I wonder if Quincy Riley or someone will. I mean, I don't know why I said that. Quincy Riley probably won't jump a route to go for an interception, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I could see a guy getting busted on a double move in that situation because we're like, oh, Haynes King can't throw it past 6 yards. So, I mean, they're definitely going to be running this slant, and all of a sudden it's a sluggo, and we're getting beat downfield. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that if their O-line comes out and dominates our D-line, that's going to be a problem the rest of the year.
This will be one of the bigger tests of our D-line depth this season, I feel like, because there are a few guys that we brought in this offseason we have high expectations for, haven't talked about, like Jordan Girard against a running team, especially a team that likes to get east and west like Georgia Tech does, which is where he absolutely thrived at FIU. This is a kid who I could see having a huge game, just causing havoc in the middle of the field. Him, Renee Conga, Destel, like you mentioned.
This is going to be a huge game for TJ Quinn and both him and Stanquan. Like it's that you expect those D linemen to definitely eat up guys, eat up doubles, eat up the offensive linemen like a traditional D lineman does. But these guys have got to shoot the gaps and hit them hard.
Yeah. Games like this,
it's going to be a bigger game for the two middle linebackers for Louisville than we realize, because like if they continue on this trend and not really throwing super deep to where like it's going to be the corners and safeties making plays and coverage. I mean, guys like Stanquan Clark, TJ Quinn, Ben Perry, or anyone else stepping up at inside linebacker star, they've got to get better at pass coverage, because as dominant as Louisville's defense has been through the first two games, the one thing that I still would love to see more out of this group is the linebackers in pass coverage, because it's still not that great. And you can get away with it against teams like Jack State and Austin Peay. But if the other team if they can see it on tape and they're going to keep going to that, something's got to get fixed there. Like I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that's been a consistent thing over the last.
I mean, I can see exactly what you're talking about, Matt, happening in the game, because it happened against Jacksonville State, where they ran that they had a curl and they had a wheel come behind it, right? And that is something where you are exactly what you're talking about right there, where we might have to TJ Quinn, Stanquan might have the back out of the backfield right there. Safety takes his guy on the curl. Oh, shit, where's the linebacker? Oh, he's dropping back into coverage, or he has the wrong guy. Now we're getting hit for a 40-yard gain on a wheel route or something like that. Like, odds is the biggest thing that I worry about with this defense in particular, just because we've been hit. Like, the two big plays that we've had against, Jacksonville State and stuff have involved guys having poor eyes. Specifically, remember TJ on that the touchdown in the end zone, the midline read against Jacksonville State. Like that worries me. If you do that against Haynes King, that play could happen at the opposite 25. Like, he is a fast player.
Do you think our D-backs are physical enough to where you see us running?
Yes, but it doesn't matter how physical you are. If you have 10 yards of space, 5 yards of space, even against some of these guys, like you're going to get you're done. You're cooked.
No, what I say, like, to see us not quite run out of a base dime package, but if our linebackers keep getting beat, fuck it, let's go to dime personnel and try to not have liability.
I'm bringing somebody down anyways. I would bring somebody down for this and run, like you said, I'd run more cover one stuff, so I can still have a safety over top, right? I could play both sides. But, I mean, I'm definitely bringing somebody down in the box to help out with the run game.
Yeah, and a guy like Tamarion McDonald has already proven that he can play in the box. So, I mean, I can see – this is a game where I see him getting a ton of run, because he can play on the back end, but he has shown through 2 games already – again, I know, strength of schedule, opponent, whatnot. But he's looked comfortable playing in the box and around the line of scrimmage, making plays in the backfield. So this is a DB who, like, while he's more so on the roster as like a free safety, I wouldn't be shocked to see him around the line of scrimmage for most of this game.
Yeah, Thor Griffith, Jordan Girard, and T-Mac, these are the type of games we bring you in for. We need a thumper who can stop the run. We need a D-tackle that's not going to get pushed backwards and can eat a double team at the line of scrimmage to open up space for our linebackers to make play. Those guys are going to have to be huge for this to get out of hand. So,
and I'm anxious to see like how well we do whenever – I'm not saying we will in this game, but when we get punched in the mouth, because it'll happen. It is bound to happen.
Always happens.
We will get
it's football. Yeah, you're going to get
how
at some point.
How will this team respond? After a turnover, after somebody takes a kickoff return and for a touchdown. I mean, like you said,
special teams play.
Exactly. They had multiple of those against Syracuse. Like, how well do you respond? Fumbles, stuff like that. How well do you respond whenever you get hit in the mouth? I really want to see that. Maybe not this game, because I kind of want to blow them out, but maybe not.
Maybe against a team like Miami, Clemson, Notre Dame, with some sparkle, brand appeal.
Yeah, exactly.